Hello, everybody. Welcome, my friends. Saturday, we had a very busy morning here and had good time with one of the cricket matches. It was played in India, Hyderabad, between India and Bangladesh, and Indians won big. So I'm a cricket person. I've been a cricketer ever since childhood, right? And I stopped playing after I came to this country, but I do follow once in a while the cricket, right? So I also participating in other rooms where this discussion came up, and I talked about it by just me putting in a. The room was about what is in our control, but I said this is a big deal. As I was growing up, the argument was: is it all destiny, or is it our self will? I might have misspelled there the destiny, but that was the situation, right? We were raised with a confusing picture. Some people said everything is God's will, everything is determined by our karma or our whatever we do in the last birth, and then we were pushed by school and colleagues to study well and to work hard to make our own life and all that. See, it was a very confusing time when we were getting up. Our elders, like grandparents, I saw. I had only one grandparent. Other grandparents already died by the time I was born, right? But she was born. She was gone. But my granddad was there, and he was very affectionate, very nice man, and he lived up to 106 years. And he used to come up climbing all the stairs when he was 94. That's when I came to know him really. He always used to say, "For everything, God's will," right? That was, but he worked very hard, and he did work even in his 90s. I remember he used to be a revenue person, but then as he became older, he became more like a handing a post office manager or something. And then I saw him working even when he was in 90s. And we used to go together to the movies. So those are some of my fondest memories with my grandpa. Anyway, I used to say, for everything, it's all up to the God. Whatever He wills, it will happen, and that's it. So he would not take anything very serious, and he would take it as though it's God's will and go about his thing. But he would not stop working, right? So as I grew up in the school was very uh, much aware of making us feel like it is all our responsibility. Our life is in our hands. Our study is in our hands. Our making a livelihood. We have to learn some studies and skills in the school, and then put them into place so that we can earn a living. They did not talk much deeper how to live life, what is life, where life ends, and all those bigger issues. They did not really discuss, right? They only focused on how we are developing in academically and also in our character, and they did pay a lot of attention to our character, how we are shaping, what is honesty, what is hardworking nature, what is sacrificing, what is doing something for others. Those values, they really were very much into that, right? So I was very much owe a lot of gratitude to the school who inculcated those values in each student. That's one thing very remarkable was they did not neglect, even though there were 30, 40 students in each class, they did not focus on only a few people, but they kind of focused on all the people. But whoever listened and did the homework, did everything as the school suggested, they did very well in their life. So that was a very good experience as in the high school. But then this discussion came to fore when we were in the pre-medical college, right? So we had to take a couple of languages. I took both English and also Hindi because Telugu is my native language, which I know. So I thought I would get Hindi as a second language, and I got to be introduced to so many authors in that language, and I was fascinated by their talk on nature, on life, on destiny, and all this, right? That was one area when they talked about what is karma theory, and how ancient Indians lived according to that. And so some clarity came, but mostly confusion because many people they thought everything is written and I cannot do anything about it, and then they will just waste away, don't do anything with their developing talents or developing any skills, anything like that. So it's a confusing period. And later on I began to explore ancient wisdom myself. Actually that karma was a very solid thing, and it actually eventually it encourages you to put your best. And also some things are under out of your control because you have done something wrong in the last life. That's why you are paying for it, that kind of thing. So you kind of encourages to accept that as a consequence of something you have done wrong, right? And also doesn't really make you depend on the result, but on the effort only. So in that way, they do encourage to put your effort, but also they say you may need some heavenly grace for you to get things done, and also you can really uh, excel, but don't look for the results of the work you do. Okay, so I will explain more about that later. So I kind of went along with what I need to do on a daily basis, and also put my effort into this. And then I came in touch with people like Gandhi through his writings. He already died by the time I was born. But his philosophy, his way of thinking was a strong influence on my early childhood, right? And also as a young man too. I began to read Gandhi much more seriously, and he said, "You have to do the duty for the duty's sake, not for something that comes out of it." You know, and that was very, very strongly on my character. So I took my duty as a physician pretty earnestly, seriously, and give my all to my patients' benefit, duty for the sake of duty. Okay, not looking for they have to reward me, they have to make me more money, they have to give me degrees, none of that, because ego proliferation was frowned upon in India right from the childhood. So they always said, don't be egotistical, don't allow your ego to grow big, and then it will somebody will come and put a needle in it, and your balloon of ego will burst. That's what they used to say. Other thing they used to say is there is a drumstick tree which is very tall, but it's very fragile. So if you climb on that, it will break down and you'll fall down. So using that simile, they used to say, somebody praises you, don't let me climb up the drumstick tree. You are trying to make me go up on the drumstick tree, and I will fall down. Okay, so either way, egotistical behavior, egotism, narcissism, they're frowned upon. They're not good qualities. Somebody who wants to take care of everybody, everyone, everything under the earth, that's what they promoted, the ancient wisdom. And then there was a lot of confusion about, is it already written destiny, or is it something that we can make for ourselves, change our lives and all that. There were equal arguments for both sides and all that. And finally, what came to me as a karma yoga is, do your stuff without expecting anything in return, and be disinterested in your selfish gain of your work, but not to be uninterested in the excellence of the work, way you do it, results and all that, but don't want the results. They will come according to the Creator, right? So you just do your best effort and then leave it to the God for the results. That's what entire thing was, and that began to really take hold. And then I took my duty as a physician to attend to my patient is as a duty for the sake of duty, and no fear, because the heavenly grace or creator will be there all along supporting you. Or if you need to learn some lesson and negatives may come, from the negatives you learn your lesson and march on. Okay, that's how it all shaped up. I hope I made myself clear. There's a lot about the karma theory. There's a lot about uh, uh, self-will and all that too. What is different from the ancients to the moderns are moderns have developed ego as though it is normal, and all the problems of the ego have surfaced. And also they are very much oriented to the results. That also, that is what suits me, what gives me egotistical evaluation, or I won't do it unless there is something for me. So this for what is in it for me implies that you have importance to your ego, right? So very contrast between the ancient wisdom and the modern way of living is there is importance for the ego, number one, and number two is profit orientation. These two are not there. So you do any job for the sake of doing it, and then so duty for the sake of duty, right? That helped a lot. So now I understand karma theory is much more detailed, much more, because after years of study, it was very confusing as I grew up. What was involved? Many people say karma, karma, but then they don't really know what's the significance of it. As I understood, they believed in reincarnation, right? That means you have this life and then afterwards the other life. What they say is we have this gross body, which is our bones and muscles and organs and all that, and that is going to come to an end, and then it will pass away, right? And there is a micro body, sukshma sarira. This first one is sthula sarira, second one is sukshma sarira. That is like our thoughts, our emotions, our feelings, and all that. That is subtle, right? That is subtle. That can be passed down to the next birth if you allow it, right? If you, but you can repair that here in this. And the third one is the root, this karana sarira. That means whatever the tendencies you have developed, whatever the tastes you have developed, all those things, whatever your personality can be carried somewhat to the next one, because it is the DNA tendencies and all that. It's a little more like what is root for us? The DNA, we call it in modern life, and then thoughts and feelings and all the inner subtle body is a can be carried on to the other one, but only the body, that is the physical body and physical brain, they kind of don't carry to the next life, right? So anyway, that was their theory, and I don't know whether to prove it or disprove it, because it was something in vogue and people talked about it in several shastras. That's a big standard books and all that, right? But many sages, many many people that are really uh, really studied life and answers to life's the deepest questions, they kind of made very stunning remarks that really shaped my um, philosophy also. For example, Ramana Maharshi, he's a great sage, which whom I really admire and really take a lot of things he told me and then incorporated them. They make a lot of sense to me. The most important thing is he directs each human being to go inward and then find out what is that we are, who we are. Okay, that was his famous thing of who am I, right? He uh, shows a direct way, irrespective of whatever religion, whatever country you are, you can turn your mind inward and discover what is important for us, which is realizing who is that we are inside, right? The real self, right? He was actually he went away from his home around 17 years of age because he was already enlightened and he was uh, really not having any ego, personality, anything like that. But he kind of really settled down in his substrate of his being, right? And then he was mostly silent, but he emanated a tremendous spiritual power. So people were fascinated by him, and they gathered around him and then posed some questions. And then, after some few years of silence, he came out and talked about this. And his sayings were kind of investigative material for anybody who wants to know what is a human being, who we are as a human being, and all that. So at 70 years of age, he runs away from his home because he wanted to go settle in a spiritual place, and he does. Okay, and he let things happen and all. And then his mother comes looking for him after a few years, and she finds him and wants him to come home, but he says the Creator writes everybody's life according to prarabdha karma. That means what he has done in the past, and some things will happen no matter how much we want to stop, we can never stop them. Some things will not happen how much we try, and that's what he tells his mother. I felt like sneezing and it is gone. Okay, so excuse me for the gap. So that statement really put a lot of things very clear to me, because when I never wanted to come to this country, but then chances come here, and then I came here as though I was carried away by the clouds. Things happened so fast, and then I landed up in the country. 81, November 5th, that's when I landed up here. And all these years gone just like that, you know. I never had the plans of coming to America or making it big with money or anything. That did not interest me from the beginning, right? So did I try to do anything, and how did it happen? You know, and then there were some events that I went through. I was in Chicago in 1985, I think. You know, I was with my friend. He has a small boat. He lives on the lake, so I used to go and frequent them because he and me, we are friends. You know, we speak the same language, and he's married to a East European lady. She is wonderful too. So they both used to call me, and I was young at the time, right, 26 or something like that. And they were kind of 50s, you know, but they were very fond of me. So they used to invite me and give me lunch and then take me out on the lake, right? And he took me out on the lake in a small dinghy. And then we went deep into the lake, Lake Michigan. And then he said, remember one thing, Rao, it is like the conscious, the absolute spirit or conscious or Brahman or Tao, whatever we call it, once it takes hold of you, it will take its own way, and you just have to surrender to it. And a couple of months later, he accidentally died of some problems in the hospital care or something, you know. Uh, but then what he said was like, I was taken over the spiritual quest, and then ever since I never stopped. You know, that was not something I could stop at all. I will always come back to this after. Suppose I ran a practice and had all the materialistic problems, all the general problems of the society, right? And then I'm drawn back to Krishnamurti's teachings or Ramana's teachings like that. I have a guest here. Oh yeah, Lois. Yeah, I love to talk to Lois. I love her too. So she's very forthright. Hi, Lois.
Hey, Dr. Ra, how you doing? Can you hear me?
Yeah, very clear.
Oh, I lost part of my microphone. That's why I asked. Okay, yes, I haven't heard much of what you're talking about, but I like the title Destiny versus Self-Will.
Yeah.
Because I feel when we're walking our destiny, most people think their destiny is to go do this, go do that. Our destiny is to allow ourselves to reveal the hidden light that's inside of us and be that light and shine as bright as we can.
Yeah.
That is destiny. Yeah. Now, our will is that stuff that we think is our destiny because we, okay. But our main job is uncovering, removing all of the clouds of judgment, all of the superficial stuff off of us from the programming and the generational stuff in our DNA and reveal our true nature. That's everybody's destiny, and most people don't even get to that part because they can't get beyond the self will and wanting to have it their way. It's like McDonald's, have it your way. But it is just like wanting to have it your way. And the thing is that when you are in that destiny thing where you realize that you are a love like being and your job is to shine your unique individual light as bright as you can, not copying nobody else, not being a mimic or a mime or anything of anybody else, just being 100% authentically you with this love energy, knowing that you are divinely created and you are a part of everything you can see, feel, touch, taste, and smell.
Yeah.
Okay, that's our divine destiny. I mean, to me, because I know when I stepped into who I really am, after finding out who I was supposed to be, after that, it took me to die to do it. Okay, I don't might have to die to figure it out, but it took me to die and go into the light and see that I was the light to be able to come back and then share the information that hey, wait a minute, this is our divine destiny is to shine as bright as we can. We took on assignments when we came to this world. We picked our tribe we were going to be with, the lessons we would learn, and all that kind of stuff. But how we learn them over how many times is up to us.
Yeah.
So the sooner we can shine our light, okay, we can be about whatever it is you're supposed to be doing. And then that self-will is really irrelevant because when you shine in your light, it's not selfish. It's not all about just what you're going to gain or what you're going to do.
No, not at all. I think absolutely right, Lois. This is the difference between the ancient and the modern says. Lois is asking to look inside and find the light. That is the uh, actual whole culture of the ancient was. Live a simple outward life and then inward find out what is that light that is always there, and the ignorance is covering it up. Let go that ignorance and find that, and in that process they discover joy, happiness, and peace. And while doing the stuff also they did very well because they don't have a problem with the ego, a personality, and all. See what Lois is talking about is that inner light beyond these superficial things. And that's why she is in her being, and that's why we relate so well when we talk to each other. Go on.
And the beauty of it is when we discover that we are the light that we want, we are the prosperity that we want, we are all this because you can't tell me that billions and billions of cells in a body is not prosperity, is not abundance. Okay, you can't, all the different things our body does show that we are abundance already.
Yes.
And the thing is that when we know who we are, we'll be in the vibration of that. It's like like somebody just said, I just heard tune in the radio station to that right frequency, and we can't be at the frequency of all the things that we desire unless we are our authentic selves.
Exactly.
Okay? And that's that love light being vibrating at certain hertz for certain things, and understanding that we get to choose how we vibrate. We can vibrate low by thinking negative thoughts and all kinds of things that lower us and in the way we think about ourselves and about our circumstance. Or we can always look at the fact that everything is always working out for us.
Yeah.
Whether
Even
Lois
underwent a lot of things in her life about her health, about her daughter, and all that. But she was always looking into her inner light to guide it, and that's why her life is so rich. So this is the ancients also did. Externally simple life, but inner rich life.
I did look outside myself for the first part of my life. I looked all outside. I went to the doctors and the therapists and the nutritionists and the this and the that and the this. And it wasn't until I took full responsibility for my life, my health, my strength, my light, my everything, my family. I took full responsibility, my brokenness, my richness, and my poorness, whatever. I took full responsibility, and when I took full responsibility,
from the time I know you, Lois, you are already turned inward, and you are coming to me with your being.
Yeah,
that's what I saw.
Yeah. And that's what it is. So it's not simple if you don't know who you are.
Yeah, that's it. So she's a good example of the modern person really turning inward and discovering who she really is, and then filling her life with abundance, which she discovered she already has. Right, Lois?
It was already there. I just wasn't in see of it because of the thoughts that I was walking around repeating in my mind like a broken tape, like a scratch record. I'm a little old, so we used to have records. We used to play on a record player, 33s, and if it got a scratch on it, it would repeat the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. And I was like a scratch record until I realized who we are in this universe, not who I am biblically, not who I am from any other text or anything, but knowing who I am. It comes to pertaining to the universe and how everything works in the universe.
Even the Bible, I believe, they said, "I am that I am."
Yes, every religious text that I've read, and I've read so many now because I wanted to. I figured the answer was in all of them collectively. When no one text had all the answers. I had to enter in all the different texts. I mean, all the different ology studies from the psychology.
Actually, ancient wisdom at one point says, Lois, throw away all the books and go into yourself and study.
Yes, and see the wholeness. You have to recognize that you are whole already. Okay, the only thing that stops you from seeing your wholeness is the muck and the mire of the things that you went through that you were supposed to grow through. And because when you grow through the stuff, instead of just letting yourself go through the stuff, you end up repeating it because you didn't learn the lesson. So I decided I'm going to learn the lesson, no matter how small or how big. I'm going to learn whatever lesson the earth has, the God has, or whoever has to teach me. This energy has to teach me, and I can't do that if I'm not listening to that divine spark. I can't look outside myself to get the answers that Lois needs because needs are inside of Lois.
I have a question for you. When you are turning inward, didn't you have to reflect and meditate on what is going on instead of going out and doing stuff?
Yes, I had to stop. I had to stop. And the thing is, since I didn't know to stop, I physically got sick and was forced to stop. Okay, I wouldn't even want to leave work. Okay, but I was forced to stop. And when I was forced to stop, that's when I had to take inventory.
Yeah.
And when I looked at all the picture and then I started correlating this with that, because my divine spark said, okay, because I had to figure out what my sickness was. So I had to look at my mama's sickness, my aunt's sickness, my dad, my cousins, my grandma's, who they died from, and because we had a lot of rare diseases in my family.
Mm.
And I had to sit and reflect and study my.
Yeah. That's wonderful, Lois. What she's describing is a courageous way of looking at not having fear, or, go on, Lois.
Yeah, the 12-step program called it a fearless moral inventory.
Yeah.
But as psychologist says, deep introspection, and religion says meditation. Everybody got a name for it, is what I'm saying. That's why I said if you study all of it, you'll find out all of it's talking about the same doggone thing. Okay, but when I studied myself and sat and got quiet and started going inward for the answer instead of outward for the answers began to reveal themselves to me. People would come to me in a synchronistic way or a serendipitous way, where a stranger will come and answer a question that I've been asking and pondering, or, well, you know what I'm saying? It was just different things like that, little nuggets here and there. It was not a straight line. It was nothing linear. And I was taught that everything is, you do this, you do this, you do this, and then this happens. No, that's not how it works. It's like popcorn popping all over the place.
You know what the ancient said? Keep quiet.
What's that?
Keep quiet and go inward.
Yeah. And you have to. Because you got to examine what your thoughts are, because your thoughts and the words you're thinking and the word pictures you imagine are creating what you're going through.
Yeah. That's what
or growing through. Either way, whether you going through it or growing through it. I prefer to grow through it.
Yeah. Basically, she kept her outward chattering mind quiet and turned her intuition inward and studied whatever is going on. And then she has the wisdom to realize what is what. Right, Lois?
Yeah, yes. I had to ask questions.
Yeah.
I had to ask when I had this. I didn't even talk about mind chatter. When I first started, there was so much mind chatter. It was ridiculous. I didn't know what end was up. And there was so much mind chatter, it created a stressful situation in me. Okay, so quieting the mind chatter had to do with me looking at what it was saying.
Yeah.
And then saying, is this true? No, that ain't true. How can this help me to think this? Oh, that can't help me. Okay, I got to toss that. Okay, and I had to ask myself, is this true? If it's so, where did I learn this truth from?
Yeah.
And is it really true for me, or was it true for somebody else? I had to start separating out who's and who's what, because
lot of the chatter is from the propaganda of others.
Yes, exactly. And a lot of the suffering is because of the propaganda of others.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm going to be real. So I found that out, and I was like, that wasn't even mine. And why was I just tripping on that? That wasn't even my idea.
Yeah.
And I'm following this thing mindlessly because this is the program I was given. So for me, it was dismantling and reprogramming. Yeah. And that's what I use the affirmations for the reprogram.
Some of these ancient text lawyers, they start with their conclusion in the beginning, and then they kind of tell you what they're going to talk about the entire book in the first few stanzas, right? This Patanjali Yoga Sutras book, it has 185 stanzas, pretty deep. Some people study for 20 years, 30 years like that. But the second line, they say yoga means chitta vritti nirodha. That means vrittis, the modulations of the mind, the chatter of the mind is completely stilled. That is the whole yoga is that. It's not about the physical exercise. That's just to keep the body physical so that we can sit down and meditate and know what we are. But then the final thing is all that chatter will be stilled. And then you will really see who you really are.
You can observe it, okay? And you can observe yourself. Like right now, I am observing myself having this conversation with you. Yeah. Okay? I'm having a conversation, but I'm also listening to the conversation that I'm having from a different part of me.
That is the witness consciousness. No, that is the witness consciousness, which is really you. Everything else is chatter.
Yeah. And the thing is, you got to learn how to observe
Mhm.
and write the right report.
Yeah.
Because some people observe and they write a report based upon, like I said, that mind chatter. That's why you have to cease with the mind chatter, and you gotta let the thoughts go. And then if they really keep coming back and you see a theme to it, that's
You
when you
know,
question who,
with
what,
all
when, why.
respect, with all respect to people here
Yeah.
on the social audio, Lois, what they do is they allow the mind chatter to dominate rather than going inward towards their real being.
Yes, yes, and I agree with that. And the thing is that it's very easy to do. So
And that's also pretty,
I wouldn't beat myself up about it if you allow the mind chatter.
yeah, pretty
It's so
sad
easy
too.
to get on the mindset.
Yeah, a lot of
Say it
people,
again.
yeah, a lot of people, pretty sad because we can never discover the diamond within the being, the happiness, the joy, the peace that we experience by just being that, and watching all the chatter come and go by is something that we
Yeah.
kind of, so
So and the thing is, it's why they call meditation a practice.
yeah.
It's a practice. You got to practice. And like I said, when you first start practicing, you're like, I'm just wasting my time. At least I did. I'm just wasting my time. This ain't working. I keep doing this. This ain't working. All I keep thinking of all this stuff and all this stuff. And I was like, what am I supposed to do with all this stuff? And then I understood that I was supposed to observe it. And then if I engage with any part of it,
Yeah.
then these questions because that's something I need to deal with. So it's all about following your inner guide.
Lois, I would say you have to start with the practicing the taking away the layers of all this chatter from you, but then meditation is a state of being. You arrive at by taking care of all this onion peeling, like you take up all these unnecessary things, then you end up in that silent, thoughtless state, and that is real meditation actually. But you need to go from where you are to that state. But generally, meditation is like a projection of thought and then understanding and going back from thought and all that, that requires practice because we have already learned so many things that are not us. All those things have to be layered out. But then once you have done that, your original state is thoughtless state. And once you are in that, it is the meditation state. It's not, you don't have to practice anything, and you can just observe all these thoughts coming and going back.
Yeah. Dr. Roberts says the truth is relative to one's own agenda.
Yeah.
So, and the thing is that we all are individuals. So each one of us has our own agenda for being here. Okay. So that's why we can't compare ourselves to somebody else. It's our meditative practice is somebody else's, because when I first started learning how to meditate, I thought all you had to do was just sit down and close your eyes and cross your legs and put your hands in a mudra. Okay, that's what I thought meditation was. But as I grew, I learned that I walk and I meditate, that when I eat, I can do an eating meditation. I can do a standing, sitting, driving, sensate, body sensate meditation. And there are so many ways that you have to meditate just to understand who you are. And all it means is just get yourself quiet, observe your thoughts, observe your feelings in your body. What are you feeling? Where are you feeling it? What's going on?
Yeah.
And it's just being introspective, because that introspection will give you clarity to understand what's happening when you're not in meditation.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I found. And I got so much clarity, man. Yeah. Okay, it's unreal. And I was able to heal my body. The doctors didn't do this. Okay. Yeah, I went to them to get my checks, to get my blood numbers, but the doctors didn't do this. I had to do this with practices of meditation, understanding that I am energy, understanding what that means, learning the 12 laws of the universe, studying biology and neurology and a whole bunch of
Lois, physics has found that we are quantum, right? That is basically we are all in one energy. Medical sciences have not come to that, whereas ancient healing systems have known that. One of my first talks on the Wisdom app was about you are the highest health when you are self-realized. That's what you are talking about. Yeah, That is my first
because your light is uncovered. The muck is off your light because you know who you are and you get to shine in a higher vibration than you are.
Yeah.
The sickness and disease cannot exist in a.
Yeah, you see, even though we are advanced age and all that, we don't have to use medications. If only we come to that vibrational energy. Not that everybody will be there easily, but it is a fact when you realize yourself, you have the highest health. That's what Lois was also saying, you know.
And the thing is that it takes a while. It's like peeling an onion, and I talk about this all the time. It's like you get to the crusty part on the outside first, and then it gets more tender and tender and sweeter as you get towards the middle, and the middle is where all the fruit. To me, I don't know. I like onions.
You know, one of the things I give an example is, suppose you are in a dark room. We are all in a dark room. Lois may be closer to the switch. Maybe I am a little more closer or a little less closer. But all of us are there in the room, and the switch is available to us. We just have to make an attempt to switch it on, and we will all eventually do it. But how soon you do it, understanding these layers and then unlayering them, like peeling them off.
Yeah, and peeling the layers, and the more layers you peel, the brighter the light gets, and the higher vibrational you become because you get closer to who you really are. And like I said, it took me to have to die and have a near-death experience to realize this, and then to study physics. And I didn't even know what I was studying was physics. Okay, I just recently found that out. I just say I studied energy.
No. Quantum mechanics tells you that everything is energy, right? And even if you go to the smallest particle, there is a movement of electrons and neutrons, and all that is the energy. And once you understand that, that is the same as in the space, you know. So
And people have a hard time, though. I understand, realizing that words are energy, just like everything is energy. Everything is vibration. Like right now, we're having an energetic exchange between our energies. So if you just see this in light language or in light, you would see.
Let me tell you something, Lois. This morning, I was listening to a yogi who is 109 years old. He was exactly telling us about this vibration of energy, where it starts in that word and how the word comes out and all. I was bowled over by his explanation. 109 years old, and he looks like a 50-year-old man, you know. So very educational, you know, for me.
When you tap in, for me, what happens is you get a DNA upgrade. The DNA is in there. You awaken the DNA that you aren't using because you got to be of a higher vibration to even access it. Because I noticed the vibrational changes as I was getting well, and how the different things were tweaking my body. And at first I'm like, oh, what is that? And then I would hear my inner spirit says, you're having the energetic vibrational increase right now. This is what you're feeling.
You see, the genetic research also shows us epigenetics, which are the top of the genes. They can be changed by our lifestyles. One of them is how we speak, what we say. Go on.
Because our words have energy. Okay. There are high vibrational words and low ones, just like there are different neurotransmitters in our brains that are inhibitory, excitatory, and modulatory. We have inhibitory, excitatory, and modulatory words. And when we use these words to express the energy, there's energetic exchange that go on with you and you, or with you and another. But anytime you have an energetic exchange with somebody else, you're also having it with yourself at the same time. So that's why
we call it the butterfly.
Actually, you're judging yourself. You know what I'm saying?
We call that butterfly effect.
Yes. And if you pay attention to it, just like a butterfly, you will be transformed.
Exactly.
And I'm gonna say it like the Bible. You'll be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Okay, that's what that means. And like I said, the scriptural and biblical texts and other texts have all this information in them. You have to see how they're connected. Everybody tries to look at everything as unilateral. One thing, this is one way.
Most of the modern,
when you put it all together, man, you get the whole picture.
Most of the modern people, they don't know that the soul can be transformed, but what can be transformed is your mind.
Yes.
Soul will be there all the time like that, but your mind needs the transformation. That is the spiritualization of our thinking, and out of thinking our words and everything comes out. So really don't think you are the mind, but understand your mind, watch it and stop it and transform it, and then get the benefit of it.
Yeah, and then do it precept. The Bible tells you do it precept upon precept. We learn line upon line. That means here a little, there a little. Don't think that it's going to all happen at once. As you see that thought rolling through that you know is not necessarily good for you, then you question it and you ask it and check the validity of it. Like, oh, I'm a terrible person. Okay, am I really a terrible person? Who told me I was a terrible person? Where did I get that idea from? Do I do terrible things? Oh, I don't do terrible things. Oh, that means I'm not. You have to question the validity of these, the crap that goes to your brain.
You know, some of the confusion, because people think there is a mindset and you can create those mindsets. But actually, there are only thoughts, and you kind of create your own mindsets, and there's no mind. You know, there is one thing I gave a lecture, this is a dissolution of the mind. That is the transformation of the spiritual nature of ourselves, you know, by transforming the mind. Then you will understand our real spiritual self doesn't need any transformation. It's pure and already perfect. You just have to get into that by understanding the transformation of the mind can happen once we see it's only thoughts, compilation of thoughts. But people give it a name and growth set and all that, you know. You have to transcend the mind. Then only you will end up your real being.
The whole thing is, if you're looking for a mindset, to set something that you put it at a certain place on the dial.
Yeah.
You can't do that with us. Okay, we can't do that because we're expand. If you get a certain mindset, you're stuck there in that set point. Okay? Okay. When you get to Kane's set point, you know, you get ready to call somebody a winner or a loser. So you can't get a mindset. Okay.
Have you heard about me talking about Mano Nasha?
No, I haven't heard that.
Yeah, this is about really knowing there is no mind. It's only few thoughts, and then once you dissolve that, and then Nasha means destruction, not the destruction of really killing the mind. You cannot do that. But what it is you understand. We kind of build up all these mindsets by thinking they are there, and then we operate according to the phantom mindset. Once you realize that mind is transformed, that is the dissolution, that is the destruction of the mind, so-called. And then you are always reacting to what is in front of you, and also you don't really go into the bank and bring all those unnecessary things we construct. This is in the neuroplasticity now. What it is if you allow unconsciously the thoughts, they can take root in the brain and they can concretize and come back and haunt you.
So because the thoughts develop a belief system. And you only get a belief system by hearing and believing the same thing over and over and over again. That's why watching the news and all that negative stuff that it's doing nowadays is not good for you, because it's going to give you a negative mindset. Okay? Because you're watching all the negativity, because it doesn't matter whether you say, well, I'm good, I know how to block that out. Your subconscious mind can't block that out. It hears everything. You may single-mindedly think you're blocking out in your conscious thoughts, but your subconscious is still picking up everything that you see, hear, touch, smell, with all your senses. Okay.
See, one of the things,
we may not remember everything.
One of the things I say about thought, Lois, be awareness, and then use your thought consciously, watch them, and then after you are done with it, finish it off. So that at the end of the day, you have a very nice, clean mind, and you can go to sleep much better. And then when you wake up, don't get into these things by opening the devices right away. Delay them. Delay them and be in your presence. And then then you can take in the important things and do that. But if people are doing continuous thinking all the time, thinking, that is really the bane of this information age. Too much information, and also people are getting confused by multitasking, by not being in their real being, in their presence. So they have all this confusion going on. They go to one room, they learn one thing. They go to other room, they learn opposite thing, and they get confused. They don't do the self investigation by themselves.
Well, I've learned that when you take the time to do what you need to do, you wake up in morning. Okay, it's a morning, but that's a morning without. But if you carry over from the day before, you're in MOURNIG. You're in morning and you're feeling some type of way, and every day is a fresh beginning. Every time I close my eyes and go to sleep or go into a meditation and come back out, I'm starting again. Nothing is the same, and it's our memories that we're carrying over that keep us in these mindsets. Okay?
I clean it up as it is happening. So at the end of the day, if I have to do anything, I don't have nothing to clean up. So I go, what I do? What I do before I go to sleep, I go and settle down in my being, not in my thoughts, in my being, which you know very well, and stay in my real self, and then be aware of that and go to sleep. And when I wake up 2 or 3 hours later, it's immense energy, because I don't have to have dreams. I don't have to have put everything in order. I don't have to spend my energy that way. That way, each night, it really becomes much better, because you don't have any dirt to clean up.
That's one of the reasons why the Bible tells you don't let the sun go down on your anger. Okay, don't go to sleep with all that stuff. And if you're dealing with it as it happens, you don't even have to do a nighttime tally. You know what I mean? Because I ain't perfect, and I'll never be perfect. But at nighttime, I replay my day.
No, Lois, correction. No, correction. There is, your being is already perfect. We make it imperfect by putting our mind.
By putting okay. But the whole thing is that I may have a day where I need to do a review, and this is where gratitude journal comes in, and this is also where reprogramming comes. I may witness something as I'm sitting in that silence that I've done that I think was very good and a good response, and I give myself that kudos for it to reinforce it. Okay, and if it's something I did that I said, I don't like how I responded in that situation. I played in my mind how I want to respond the next time it happens, because it will happen again. Okay, the next time it happens, so that I have a new program instead of that reactionary program that I did in the first place. So for me, it's just a matter of knowing myself and sitting with myself, so that in the morning, when the morning comes, it's fresh and new. But thank you, Dr. I love you. I gotta go.
See, when I studied the meditation in ancient wisdom, they talked about all that we do is meditation, journaling, or recollecting data and putting aside. All that is in the mind. So whatever projects from the mind, we are dealing with it, versus this mano nasha, destruction of the so-called phantom mind, and it is actually spiritualizing the mind towards much nobler things, much elevated things, and all that. Then you don't have any dirt of selfish desires or selfish reactions and all that there. So the mind gets cleaned up, and rather than allowing the mind to be there and to project, you are working on the so-called construction of the mind, and realize it is not so. It is only a bunch of thoughts we have. That kind of takes away even the work of projection of the mind. And that is majority of the meditation systems are projection of the thought, and then preventing that. Whereas this mano nasha, which is a destruction of the so-called phantom mind, and not by doing anything, but by understanding, by realizing it's really, there's no mindset. We only create it, and we want to divert our intelligence or everything in a particular direction and restricting it. This way, you can think, but the thinking won't be continued. And you may use the thoughts, that's fine, but it's a tool. But otherwise, you are a servant to the tool, and then you will never experience the peace of that thoughtless state which Manu Nasha brings. And you are very aware too. Only thing is, you are completely in the moment and you are completely aware. So, whatever you do, you can use your intellect, but you won't leave anything left there in an unconscious way, and they become the dirt in your inner self. So that is not there, then the sun that is there within you as being, it comes out. So the clouds are gone and the light is already there. The light comes out because you have taken away the obstacles you yourself have set up. I hope that is understood. If any questions come and ask me, I'll be happy to go much more detail into that. But it's one thing to say about it. It's another thing to be that. To be that is the most important thing. It's not like a just describing something and not experiencing it. That can be only possible if you turn your mind inward and investigate by yourself and realize the false obstacles that you yourself have put up, and just by understanding and transcend them, then the natural being, the sunlight, the sun that is there, already shows up. You don't have to do anything except to find out where are all these thoughts are coming from. Are they really real? Do they have a source and all that? Then you will find out your real self is a thoughtless state, peaceful, happy, and blissful, and that is really sees the thoughts as observer, and then really will not allow them to really stabilize themselves in you. But majority of the time, people are not paying attention to the thoughts, and that's why in the morning routine, I always invite people to really observe the thoughts, be the witness of the thoughts, but don't indulge it. But usually they're so rapid, so quick, and the more you think in a particular line, the more they become your tendencies, right? And then you will be thinking like that in no time. For developing a skill and developing anything that you want to do, that is important. But it comes to your psychological self, inward nature, that is very destructive, because it will overwhelm your real being, and it will cover up as clouds, and they bury your real self deep within. It never comes out. That intuitive grasp, the sense of intelligence, that has to come out only by really understanding what are the covering clouds I created by myself by not really knowing. That is the problem with the information age. People are going really overwhelmed, burnout, because they think only think. They don't know how to give a break productively or constructively to the thought. I'm not saying thought itself is bad. No, thought itself, energy is like they call it Shakti, right? Like a power that is we have. But if you don't know how to handle your power, it will engulf you. That's what's happening with a lot of people. Look at an ordinary person or any person in modern age that is not into these inner aspects of. I'm not about the psychology. I'm not talking about anybody theories of the psychology. They are not real to me because they are kind of explanations that are given. So I dismiss the whole field of psychology because they are built on thought, whereas ancient systems are built on awareness of thought. So awareness, obviously, when you think something, you are aware. So they go to much more fundamental than thought. Whereas psychological field, psychiatry, and all these people, they stay only on the thought. So that's why they can never solve any mental illness really. They just drag them out and all that. So I don't have much to do with them. But if you really understand our real mula, that means the anchor of our being is the one which is observing the thoughts, and it can learn to stop them when they are not needed. So, what I was saying all the time, be aware and use thought consciously. That means it's not out of in its own way, but that is the problem. Thoughts are electric, the way they are formed, the air stabilized, the way they come out. And most of the people cannot do that because they don't know what is the mechanism to be thoughtless state and use thought in a constructive way. This may be very tough. I'm not saying everybody should be understanding and doing that right away, but I'm just putting a seed in there for people to explore so that they will know what is what and who really I am, what are the faculties I have, how come we can be a scientist, but also a spiritual person of investigating yourself. No amount of discussion with other people who have only thought, or however deep it is, they will never transcend that into the real nature, and that's the problem. Like I said, yoga said, first still that thought, and then discover what is behind the stillness of thought, your real self, and let it come out and then work through it. That is the awareness. That's why you be in awareness and use thought. Don't say it is bad or don't say it is something we should not do. Not at all. You have to use thought to get along in the world, but it is kind of went out of control and people are victim of their own thought patterns like algorithms. That is exactly what is happening now. Right? The algorithms are going to rule out whatever is going on in our mind. So most of the people, technical people, and scientific people, they are caught in their own thoughts. They don't have the relief from it. Either they have to take a medication or they say the so-called meditation, right? Where they sit down and try to calm it down. Instead of that, if you are established in your real self, that is a thoughtless state, you don't have to do any meditation. Your being itself is a meditation. Okay? Anybody else has any questions or anything I made any sense or some questions have arisen? You can come and tell me about it. I'll be happy to engage you. So what I'm saying is destiny or self-will depends upon how you view approach to life. Ancient view approach to life is like as human being, in me, within me, inside of me, when I turn my mind inward, I can find out this diamond, this being, this intelligence, this life force that is independent of this thought movement, and use the thought as a tool, body as a tool, but you are the real being. Once you are there, then you will be able to do the stuff that is right, and you will not be bothered about the results. So duty for the sake of duty, and also uninterested in selfish goals, but not disinterested. Right? I should say disinterested means I am not interested in the fruits of the labor for me, but I'm not uninterested about the excellence of the work. Yoga karmashu kaushalam. That means establishing the connection with the universal, with my inner self, which is already there. Just realizing that, not even working towards it, just realizing it, eliminate the clouds of our ignorance about it, right? And then once you are not uninterested in your excellence of the work will be done very well, but you have dispassion about the results, win or loss. That is the equanimous nature you develop, right? And then you can enjoy the life, you can do stuff, and then you can accept either winning or losing. And then you will not say some destiny has dictated me, or I don't have a self-will because everything is destiny. This confusion happens when you don't know what is what. What is you? Who are you? What is thought? What is body? Are they you? Do you identify with your body? Do you identify with your mind or not? Hopefully that's not too confusing for you. And anybody else want to come up? Yeah. Oh, my friend Terry. Okay, very good.
Hello, Dr. Rao.
Hi, Terry. Yeah.
How are you?
I am great. How are you?
I'm fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm outside at the moment. Yeah, destiny versus self-will. Another word you could put in there is fate, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think people sometimes get confused with the difference between destiny and fate. Because
Yeah.
sometimes they think the fate is the end.
Mm.
But I think it's the other way around. I think your destiny
Mm.
is the result of fate
Mm.
and how you react to different episodes in your life.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
could be
how the
fate.
karma theory is
Yeah.
explained, Terry, because they kind of believed on the reincarnation. So they said, if you do good this life, next time you will be rewarded, and if you do bad in this life, then you will be punished in next life. You know, so people kind of
Yeah.
use that. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, yeah. This is where it all gets complicated and confused because
Yeah.
sometimes in the Tao,
Hmm.
there is no good and bad. You know,
Mm.
it's just and karma. And
Mm.
another thing is karma, of course. But I believe karma
Mm.
will be coming to an end in the future.
Yeah.
Because yeah, karma is like a piggy bank,
Yeah.
and when you do so-called good, it's supposed to add to your piggy bank, your karmic piggy bank. When you do bad,
Yeah.
it takes away from it. You know, but it's not so much like a punishment or reward system.
Now, if
It's-
you
it's-
look at the whole karma theory, Terry, there are three parts of it. Prarabdha is what you have done before; it is going to be paying now, and Sanchita karma is something you can do now, and Agama
Yeah.
karma depends on what you do now. So eventually, if you live well in this life, even future will be good. But then giving the prarabdha karma as a member of past actions, so you can accept what is happening to you here in a resignation panel. You see?
I think, yeah, I did see. But the point I'm trying to make is,
Mm.
people think there's some punishment at the end of your life and all this, but no, you just look at it
Yeah.
and see where you can do better.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah, you can make it better. And also, if something comes in, then you can accept it, surrendering to it. You know, then you can go ahead and do what you can do better here. You know. So
That's right. Yeah.
come back, Terry. You are cut off in the middle of sentence. Yeah, he's back.
I'm back.
Yeah,
Yes.
go on, Terry.
Yeah, I believe it's all learning and growth.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mm.
As long as it's the reason why people have to repeat
Yeah.
something in their life over and over again until they learn the lesson.
Yeah, exactly.
And,
you know what?
yeah.
Even the karma theory used wrongly in India. Like, oh, we can't do anything. Everything is determined, so we don't have to do anything. You know, that's kind of blaming your laziness, your lack of initiative on the divine. You know, that's not the way. It's a kind of really understanding there are certain divine forces that lead you some things. So, for example, they say Suppose you are tied to a chain and you are in the fence, then you can roam about in the fence whatever you want, but then there are limitations like a fence, and you cannot go beyond it. So self will be okay as long as I'm in the fence. But then if I'm going beyond the what is natural law, what is universal goodness, then you have to pay for it. We see the people who are violent end up violent death.
Yes, they can do. That's true. Yeah. If you live by the sword, they die. You die by the sword, as has been said in the past. But, yeah. But it's how can I? Oh dear. It's simple but complicated, isn't it, Dr. Rao? Like,
yeah, it's very complicated.
You have to experience it, and you have to.
I have gone through the complication myself. It was so confusing going up in India. Somebody says you have to work hard. Other person says it's all divine will. Whatever is written to you. Yeah, that's so right. So negative, so complicated at the time. Yeah.
Yeah, this is why, if you often say, Dr. Rao, you have to listen and go within and find your own truth. You know? Nobody can tell you what your truth is. You can't tell anybody else what their truth is.
Exactly. That's what I say to people. They all say we are going to go together. I say, no. You find your truth by going into yourself.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
So people overthink things, you know.
Yeah.
Walk gently on the earth, you know. Do harm to no one, and chop wood and carry water. There you go. Thank you, Doctor.
Yeah, this overthinking, Terry, that is happening is a modern phenomenon, because before Rene Descartes, there was not this topic of overthinking. Even the Greece, even the Egyptian, even the Chinese, everywhere we go, thinking is not given that much. Whereas this identification, like I think, therefore I am, missing the being completely, has led to this modern civilization where thinking is given the top priority. Actually, thinking is very powerful, important, but that's not us. That is happening to us. That point is missed. People are ending up in overthinking all the time because they think the more we think, the deeper I think, the more I will get the insight. No, you got to be in that thoughtless state and really realize who you are. Then you will realize all these wonderful things of inherent with each human being. They may come to that according to their own level of work and all that, but then nobody should need to say that you are inferior than the other human being, because they will eventually come there. It's like a travel. A big road is there. Some people are in the front, some people are in the back, but everybody will reach the destination. It only depends upon how much aware they are, how much work they can do on their own, inner selves, finding out who we really are. That's why ancient culture of simple living and inner rich way of looking at things was very, very significant, I think. So, anybody else has any questions? I think I made my point. What is what? Because this kind of things can be very confusing, and also sometimes don't allow people to really realize that true potential, and also really not able to resolve failures, resolve setbacks in life, and all that. So there is a lot of suffering either way. But the people who understand this and then operate like that, they can maneuver the difficult parts of life much better with intelligence, right? And then you can really accept the facts of life and then go forward with much more clarity, right? And then also much more energy. So we may have this fence of destiny, but we are operating within the fence with a chain around us, and then on the chain of the whole fence is like our lifetime here, and then we may not cross the boundaries created by the divine, but within the allotted boundaries, we can make ourselves better by really knowing who we are. Hopefully, that's all clear to you. And if I'm like sounding mysterious or confused, excuse me. But if you stop your thinking and go inward and find your real being, all this makes very clear. Okay. Thank you, and I will see you again. Okay. Bye bye.